Happy to welcome former NFL wide receiver Patrick Crayton into the open mic tonight. Out of DeSoto High School, of course. Spent half a dozen seasons with the Cowboys here with us tonight. Patrick, do you think that this team had this kind of bounce-back effort in it after what you saw against San Francisco?
Definitely, man. I think it's NFL, so you got to have a short memory from one week to the next. And they did a great job today, man. So like you said, balanced attack. They ran the bomb. Happy DeMarco. 29 carries, 167 yards. You can't ask for a whole lot more.
Yeah, we've been promised, Cowboys observers and fans throughout the years, of a balanced offense. Now, play caller Scott Linehan promised he'd run the ball more, 43 runs, 29 passes today, and Murray with the big day. What do you see from him as a runner that you like?
I think, number one, the way he finishes the runs. At the end, he's not looking to step out of bounds. He's looking to actually deliver a blow. I think the only negative you have about him is, of course, back-to-back week with fumbles. And I'd love to see him be able to carry the ball in his left hand as well as his right. But other than that, he's playing an outstanding season right now.
And how about this offensive line? We heard throughout camp that a lot of people thought it was the strength of this team. And, you have the first-round draft picks, Tyron Smith and Frederick the center, and now Martin, the kid from Notre Dame as well. And that appears to be paying dividends.
Right. I think it's paying a lot of dividends. I think, like you said, they're young. And that core, if they continue to play well like they're playing and they continue to just get experience over the years playing together, they can have the same type of line we used to have.
You were there when Romo became the starter in '06. You played with him for quite a while. He's obviously coming off the surgery, really struggled against San Francisco with the turnovers, and still didn't look quite right today, I didn't think. What did you think as you watched Tony today?
I think you're correct in that saying. He still looks like he's dragging just a little bit. And I'm not sure if it's just due to the back injury. Because I'm not sure exactly when he had the surgery, but I know it was earlier this year. So he's had time to rehab it and actually strengthen, the rest of the smaller muscles around it to be able to get back to the Tony Romo of old. I think it's just the way you approach it and your workout ethics.
Let's talk about his favorite target. I guess maybe Jason Witten technically would still be, but Dez Bryant is quickly becoming that. Another 100-yard game today for Dez. He had 10 catches. Your take as one receiver to another as you watched Dez Bryant come along here in recent years?
I think you love it. The maturity level that he's reached has been great. I think not only just on the field but as well as off the field. You see the way he carries himself now. That's a lot different than the Dez from his rookie year when I knew him at that time. So it's been a great maturation of it.
And it's been a fine line for him, hasn't it? Because he's such an emotional player, figuring out a way to bottle that and not have it be a distraction.
But that's what you have to have. You have to play the game with emotion. We call it wearing your emotion on your sleeves, and you have to have that because it trickles down to the rest of the teammates.
If you look at this team and its offensive philosophy, as we said, they ran the ball so well today. It gets back to Romo to a certain extent, Des. You wonder if this team will ever truly be redefined as a run-oriented team. It's hard to imagine that, isn't it?
Very, very, and I'm not sure that would be redefined as a running team. I think you'll have a passing quarterback because it's a passing game these days, but you always have to have a running back to offset that.
And of course, the guy who ultimately is going to set that philosophy offensively is Jason Garrett, in spite of who's actually calling the plays. You didn't always see eye to eye with Garrett when he was your offensive coordinator. I think that's fair to say.
That's fair to say. I don't think anyone ever sees eye to eye with any offensive coordinator in the league. Because there's times you're going to want the ball, and there's times you think some other place should be called. So, but that's part of the game. That's part of the nature of the profession and the way it goes. You're going to have disagreements.
What do you think of his performance as a head coach?
Today's been great. Today was great. We're not going to do well in the past, but today, September 14th was a good day.
So you're just going to focus on the Tennessee Titans game.
We cannot go back to the past because the past is the past, and right now he's 1-1 as a head coach in 2014. And today was a good day. You got to win, and that's what you got to build on.
You think he has what it takes to ultimately, because Jerry obviously wants it to work with him. He's been Jerry's hand-picked guy for years now. You think Jason ultimately has the qualities and the characteristics that can make him a successful head coach for the Cowboys?
That's yet to be seen. The track record may not say so, but I think if the players start believing in him a little bit more and he shows what he has to do as a head coach to guide these guys in the right direction, then possibly.
All right, we'll go to some other topics around the league here in just a moment. But first, to wrap up the Cowboys angle of it, they go to St. Louis next week. They're 1-1. What do you think a realistic goal is for this team? Can this be a playoff football team?
I think it can. I think it can. But like you said, if you build on today's win and you move forward, you get ready, you enjoy tonight and tomorrow a little bit, and then you start preparing for St. Louis, and that's going to be hard in that dome to win.
Been a few bad weeks for the National Football League. The Adrian Peterson case now, Greg Hardy of the Panthers, Ray McDonald of the Niners, and of course the Ray Rice case, all domestic abuse cases. Commissioner Goodell heavily criticized for his handling of the Rice case. What do you think of Goodell's predicament, if you will, his situation, his job security? Should he resign over the way he's handled this Rice thing?
I'm not going to say resign. I'm not going to say he's going to be fired. But I think it depends on what evidence comes out, because I know how the NFL has the resources that they have to be able to go research whatever they need to find. Like I said, I think it's second to the FBI and the CIA when you're looking at the United States. So to say you never saw the tape until Monday, I think it's a little insulting, I think, to the general public, and especially the other NFL players that know the resources that the NFL has.
How about just as a former NFL player, the black eye, so to speak, that the league has taken here and in the past few weeks over all the domestic violence cases? Not necessarily just the way they've been handled by the league, but just the fact that they have existed in the first place.
You're talking about the way they're handling it?
No, just is it difficult as a former player to see your league now being branded, fairly or not, as one that really does have a problem with domestic violence?
Because they're generalizing. They're not just, they're not saying one or two players. The O'Neill lady, she said that the NFL has a domestic abuse problem, and you're not talking about all 1,800 players. You're talking about a few, that are making, like they said, one apple can spoil the whole bunch. So it's kind of, bad. It's a bad look right now for the NFL, but I think as a whole, when you look at the rest of the guys in the NFL, they carry themselves well accordingly, and with the law and, the characteristics, you can't say it as a whole.
Finally, when Michael Sam announced before the draft that he was gay, you criticized his decision. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, you criticized his decision to make the announcement then because you worried about the fact that people would focus too much on that, not enough about football.
Right.
With that said, how'd you feel when the Cowboys brought him into the practice roster?
My thing is, if he's going to help you win games, we're talking about football. You want those kind of players on your team to help you win games. So, and from what I've heard, he's been great. Marinelli loves him. So, if he continues to build on that and he gets activated to the 53-man roster, hopefully he helps the Cowboys win football games.
We'll see how many more football games the Cowboys win beginning next week against St. Louis. Patrick Crayton, enjoyed having you in tonight.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you very much.